Hey students, my name is Kristen Snyder and I am your instructor for social problems. Just to get started, I wanted to introduce myself. So I have been teaching here at the Carl Albert campus for close to 10 years. Before that, I spent 10 years in public education. So I am passionate about education. So when we cover that chapter, I hope you dive in and see some of the problems with education, but also some of the wonderful things that are going right and how some of these avenues can help solve social problems. Um, so with that being said, I love to run, married, have three amazing kiddos. A lot of times if you're in class with me, I try to tie what we're covering to real life scenarios. And so sometimes I use those. Maybe in our short introduction videos, you will see some of that. But I hope you see application in this class. In this class, we will talk about what society says is a social problem. A lot of it goes into hot topics that you would see in the news. So if you're not current with current events, this is a chance for you to get that way. Anyways, you will need the textbook. It is a digital platform textbook, but it is listed in our syllabus. But this is what it looks like if you were getting the real deal hardbound. I know that that is an option when you purchase through Cengage, that you can get the hardbound textbook. And I think it's actually probably a loose leaf. And the ebook version, but the ebook is completely fine because in that infuse, I think mind tap terminology that they use there with that Cengage, you have assignments that are also there and they'll be on Blackboard. So it's deep linked. You'll see them all there and those grades will populate also on Blackboard. So each week, you'll have discussion, you will have what I call, a 3 facts assignment. You'll have test. Each week assignments, I say, are due on Monday. So that's what you see that they're due on Monday, but I do a little trick with you guys. And it actually closes out on Wednesday. So tell yourself, sort of lie to yourself and tell yourself, hey, all of my work for Miss Snyder is due on Monday at noon. And then if things happen, know that it will stay open, no points will be deducted, but it does all close out on Wednesday at noon. So that is the hard deadline. That also gives me a chance to look in and say, hey, here's some students that haven't been doing their work. Get in there and get started. Anyways, so just a good, helpful tool for you guys. Like in our social problems class, we talk about social problems. We talk about world problems. We talk about problems in the United States for sure. It's like as we leave, I want you to think of how can I go be a world changer? What are things that I can do that can make a positive difference? Because so much of it's negative, we can also do positive things. And sometimes the things seem so big. Like one of the topics that we talk about is globesity. It's like, how can we stop our world from this obesity epidemic that's happening? You're like, it's the foods, the companies, and we can go down that avenue, but also at the same time, we can go down, okay, I'm going to change right here. I'm going to change my family. I'm going to, yes, and if you want to be that voice that goes, and changes, large corporations, there are people out there that are doing an amazing job at that, and you can be that person also. But no matter what the steps are, even the small steps make a difference. And so that sort of leads us into the theoretical perspectives that we'll cover, the structural functionalist, the conflict, and the interactionist. We'll be talking about those all semester long. So it's just sort of a lens, a way we see the world. How do we see the social problem? Do we see it from the structural functionalist perspective, like the body and the parts? Do we see it from the conflict? The haves are holding down the have-nots and the power struggle there. And it's all about economics, and it's all about the people with the money or keeping the people with the money without the money held down and oppressing them. Or is it the interactionist? This is probably one of my favorite just because it goes back to that micro level, that small scale, and I'm going to change right here. I'm going to look at that individual level of what can I do. Anyways, and so all of them have validity to them. but it's just a different lens. It's sort of like what I say in class. It's sort of like looking at the world as a Republican or a Democrat. Both of them have good points for sure. But what lens do I view the world from? Anyways, so with that being said, one of the things that I want to leave us with in any sociology class that I teach, I always want students to practice the sociological imagination. So I want you guys to step back and look at these topics that we're talking about: healthcare. Let's see what else: education, economics, family, religion. Look at these topics that we're talking about, um, and use that sociological imagination. You see it through your perspective. I don't I don't have to change that. Like gun rights. Like, do you think we should have guns? Do you think we should limit the amount of guns that we have? You see whichever perspective you want to. Can you stop for just a second and see it from the other person's point of view also, and argue that other side? Not that you have to agree with the other side, but see if you can understand where their standing points might be at, and then have empathy into their viewpoints. Anyways, and so that's what I hope you walk away with. I hope you walk away with more understanding of current events and what's going on in our world, but also just true empathy, true sociological imagination, stepping back and seeing it from a different perspective. Doesn't mean you have to change, but it does mean that you're willing to listen. Anyways, so let's go read, let's go get started. And I will see you guys online. I hope to get to know you too. Bye.